Family disowned me 8 years ago after what I did. To my brother after I discovered he slept with my girlfriend. Now they invited me to Christmas out of the blue. Then I learned why. Sup, Reddit. My twin slept with my girlfriend. I exposed him at his engagement party, and my family cut me off for 8 years. Then they suddenly invited me to Christmas, like nothing happened. Turns out they needed something. Here's how it went down. I'm 32 male, gonna lay this out straight. 8 years ago, my twin brother slept with my girlfriend. Not a one-time mistake. A full relationship behind my back for 6 months. When I found out and handled it, my family disowned me for ruining his life. Now they want me back for Christmas. Spoiler alert, it wasn't about reconciliation. Let me set the scene first. Growing up with an identical twin sounds cool until you realize you're the practice version and he's the finished product. My brother Nathan got everything. Mom's attention, dad's approval, the good bedroom with the view, even my college fund when his business venture needed startup capital. Nathan was the golden child who could do no wrong. Charming, social, always knew the right thing to say. Teachers loved him. Girls loved him. Our parents worshipped the ground he walked on. Meanwhile, I was the responsible one who kept my head down, worked hard, and got ignored unless they needed something. We're talking textbook favoritism here. When Nathan got a C in calculus, Dad hired a tutor and blamed the teacher. When I got a B in chemistry, I got a lecture about not applying myself. Nathan wrecked Mom's car junior year. They bought him a newer one. I scratched Dad's truck, helping him move furniture. I paid for the repair out of my summer job savings. The differences were everywhere. Nathan's birthday parties were massive events with catered food and 50 kids. Mine were family dinners where half the conversation was about Nathan's latest achievement. When we both applied to state university, they threw Nathan a graduation party with a banner and everything. I got a card that said, "Good job, we're proud of you both," with Nathan's name listed first. College was supposed to be my fresh start. Finally away from the constant comparisons, the endless favoritism, the feeling of being invisible in my own family. I worked part-time at a campus bookstore, kept my grades up, and actually made friends who knew me as just Liam, not Nathan's twin, or the other one. That's where I met Jessica. She was a year behind me, studying graphic design, with this laugh that made everyone around her smile. We met when she came into the bookstore looking for art supplies. She was funny, creative, and when she looked at me, she actually saw me. Not my brother, not some comparison, just me. We dated for almost 2 years. She'd come to my dorm room and we'd order pizza and watch movies. She'd show me her design projects and actually care about my opinion. She met my roommate Kevin and his girlfriend, and we'd all hang out on weekends. For the first time in my life, I had something that was completely mine. Nathan was at a different school about 3 hours away, studying business and partying his way through a degree our parents were funding. He'd call Mom every week with stories about networking events and fraternity connections. Meanwhile, I was paying my own way through school with loans and that bookstore job, but nobody seemed to notice the difference. Jessica knew about my family situation. I'd told her about the favoritism, the way Nathan always came first, how I'd learned to just accept being second place. She'd get angry on my behalf, tell me I deserved better, make me feel like I actually mattered to someone. "Your family's crazy," she'd say after I'd tell her about another incident. "You're amazing, and they don't even see it." Having someone in my corner felt incredible. I'd spent 22 years being the backup son, and suddenly here was this person who chose me first. During my senior year, Nathan started coming to visit more often. Said he missed me, wanted to reconnect, felt bad about how distant we'd been. I was stupid enough to believe him. He'd show up on Friday nights, crash on my couch, and hang out with me and Jessica and Kevin and his girlfriend. He was charming as always, making everyone laugh with stories about his fraternity or his business classes. Jessica seemed to enjoy his company, which made sense. Nathan was good at making people like him. That was his whole thing. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. The way Jessica started dressing nicer when Nathan was coming to visit, how she'd volunteer to grab coffee for everyone and Nathan would go with her. The private jokes that I wasn't part of, but I trusted them both. Nathan was my brother, and Jessica was my girlfriend. Why would I suspect anything? I found out the truth the worst possible way. It was March of my senior year. I'd gotten this scholarship notification, a decent academic award that came with $2,500. I was excited to tell Jessica, so I left class early and went to her apartment. She'd given me a key months before. Walked in and heard sounds from her bedroom. Not sounds you want to hear when you're expecting your girlfriend to be studying. Opened the door and there they were. My twin brother and my girlfriend. In her bed. The bed where I'd spent dozens of nights thinking I was building something real with someone who actually cared about me. The look on their faces when they saw me. I'll never forget it. Not guilt, not shame, just annoyance that they got caught. Like I'd interrupted something instead of discovering my whole life was a lie. Nathan didn't even scramble to get dressed, just sat there with this expression that said he'd been expecting this moment eventually. Jessica pulled the sheet up and opened her mouth like she was about to explain, but nothing came out. What explanation was there? I didn't yell, didn't throw things, just stood there feeling like someone had reached into my chest and ripped out everything that made me human. Then I turned around and left, walked back to my dorm in a daze, my brain trying to process what I'd just seen. Kevin found me sitting on the floor of our room about an hour later, just staring at the wall. He took one look at my face and knew something catastrophic had happened. When I told him, he went pale. Your brother? Nathan? The one who's been crashing here? I nodded. That piece of garbage. I'm gonna kill him. Kevin was a good friend. Stayed with me that whole night. Ordered food I couldn't eat. Let me process what had happened. His girlfriend came over, and she was crying angry tears on my behalf. These people I'd known for 2 years cared more about my feelings than my own twin brother. Nathan called around midnight. I answered because I needed to understand how this had happened. How he could do this to me. He said what they always say. It just happened. They didn't mean for it to happen. They tried to fight it, but the connection was too strong. How long? I asked. Silence. Then, 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of lying to my face. Half a year of him driving 3 hours to visit his brother, while actually sleeping with my girlfriend. Half a year of Jessica kissing me goodbye before class, and then texting my brother. The betrayal was so thorough, so complete, I couldn't even process it all at once. I'm sorry, Nathan said, but you have to understand. What we have is real. I know it's complicated, but I love her. Love. He loved her. My brother loved my girlfriend and had been pursuing her behind my back for 6 months, and somehow I was supposed to understand that. Does the family know? I asked. Not yet. We wanted to tell you first. No, they'd wanted to keep it hidden until it became impossible to hide. Getting caught wasn't the same as coming clean. I hung up and didn't answer when he called back 17 times. Jessica called too. Left voicemails crying about how she never meant to hurt me, how it wasn't about me, how sometimes these things just happen, as if my brother sleeping with my girlfriend was like weather, an unfortunate natural occurrence nobody could control. The next week was a blur. I stopped going to classes, stopped showing up to my bookstore job, just existed in this fog of betrayal and disbelief. Kevin basically kept me alive, making sure I ate something and didn't completely fall apart. His girlfriend spread the word about what happened, so everyone in our friend group knew. The judgment was universal. Nathan and Jessica were garbage human beings. Then Mom called. Finally, I thought. Finally, someone from my family reaching out to check if I was okay. But no. She was calling because Nathan had told them everything, and they wanted to discuss the situation as a family. We know you're upset, Mom said. But Nathan and Jessica have real feelings for each other. We need to be mature about this. Mature. I needed to be mature about discovering my twin brother in bed with my girlfriend. They want to be together, Mom continued. And we hope you can find it in your heart to support them. Family is forever, sweetie. Family is forever. But apparently girlfriends are community property. Dad got on the phone. Listen, son, I know this is tough, but your brother's serious about this girl. He's talking about proposing. We need you to put aside your hurt feelings and be there for him during this important time. My hurt feelings. Like I'd gotten my feelings hurt because someone ate my leftovers, not because my twin brother destroyed my relationship and my trust in one move. He wants you at the engagement party, Dad added. It would mean a lot to him if you were there. The engagement party. Nathan was going to propose to Jessica, the girl who'd been my girlfriend until 3 weeks ago, and they wanted me to smile and clap and celebrate this beautiful love story. I told them I wouldn't be attending. Dad got quiet, then said something that still makes my blood boil. Don't be selfish about this. Your brother's happiness is at stake. Your brother's happiness, not mine. Never mine. Nathan's happiness was always the priority, and I was expected to set myself on fire to keep him warm. I hung up and blocked their numbers. All of them. Mom, Dad, Nathan. Cut them out completely. Kevin said it was the right move. His girlfriend said my family was toxic, and I deserved better. These relative strangers cared more about my well-being than my own parents. But I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. Because Nathan and Jessica were having their engagement party whether I attended or not. It was scheduled for April, about 6 weeks after I'd walked in on them. 6 weeks from devastation to celebration. They were moving fast, probably trying to get ahead of the scandal. Kevin's girlfriend had a friend who was friends with one of Jessica's roommates. The social network provided intelligence. The engagement party was at some restaurant in Nathan's college town, invitation only, about 50 people. Nathan had proposed on a beach at sunset, got down on one knee with mom and dad there to witness it. The Facebook announcement had hundreds of likes and comments about how they were such a perfect couple. Perfect couple. Built on the foundation of infidelity and betrayal. But everyone loved the story because Nathan was charming and Jessica was pretty. So who cared about the collateral damage? I spent 3 weeks making calls and gathering evidence. Found out Nathan had used my Netflix account to watch movies with Jessica on nights he told me he was studying. My Spotify showed he'd made her a playlist on my premium account that I was paying for. Found old Venmo transactions where I'd sent him gas money for visits. Gas money to come sleep with my girlfriend. Jessica had posted photos on Instagram that I'd never seen because I wasn't much of a social media person. Pictures of them at restaurants in her town when Nathan was supposedly visiting me. A selfie from January with Nathan in the background that she'd captioned, "Good company," with heart emojis. Evidence of the relationship was everywhere once I started looking. They hadn't even been that careful. I gathered everything. Screenshots, timestamps, receipts. Then I created a simple digital presentation. Facts only, no emotional commentary. Just a timeline of their relationship starting 6 months before I found them together, overlaid with screenshots of my text conversations with Jessica, where she told me she loved me and couldn't wait to see me. The engagement party was on a Saturday night. I drove to Nathan's college town with Kevin, who'd insisted on coming along. We waited in the parking lot of the restaurant until the party was well underway. Could see through the windows, everyone dressed up, drinks in hand, Nathan and Jessica at the center of attention. Kevin and I walked in around 8 p.m. The hostess tried to stop us, but I explained I was Nathan's twin brother, and there must have been a mix-up with the invitation. She looked confused, but let us through. Identical twins have some advantages. The room went quiet when people saw me. Nathan's face drained of color. Jessica looked like she might throw up. Mom stood up from her table looking alarmed. Dad's expression was pure anger. But I walked right up to the microphone, where Nathan had presumably given some speech about finding true love. "Hey everyone, I'm Liam, Nathan's twin. Sorry I'm late. I wanted to share some things about the happy couple that you might find interesting." Nathan started moving toward me, but Kevin intercepted him. My friend might be smaller than my brother, but he was angry enough to be effective. Dad tried to get involved, but Kevin's girlfriend had brought 2 of her rugby player friends who blocked his path. We'd planned this carefully. I pulled out my laptop and connected it to their projector setup. Nathan was shouting something about this being inappropriate and how I needed to leave. Mom was crying. Jessica had her hand over her mouth. The guests were frozen, unsure what was happening. "This is a timeline," I said, bringing up the first slide. 6 months ago, my brother started sleeping with my girlfriend. Not after we broke up, during our relationship, while he was supposedly visiting me at school. The room erupted in whispers. I clicked through the evidence. Screenshots of Jessica telling me she loved me while texting Nathan. Photos of them together while I thought Nathan was on my couch playing video games. Venmo receipts where I'd literally funded my brother's gas to come cheat with my girlfriend. "They got caught 3 weeks ago," I continued. "Didn't confess. Got caught. Then decided to get engaged immediately, and my parents decided I needed to get over it and support them." Mom was full-on sobbing now. Dad was shouting at me to stop. Nathan had gone completely pale. Jessica had disappeared. Someone said she'd run to the bathroom. The guests were stunned into silence, watching this disaster unfold. "So, congratulations to the happy couple," I finished. "May your relationship built on lies and betrayal be everything you deserve." I disconnected my laptop and walked out. Kevin followed, and his girlfriend and her friends created a barrier so nobody could stop us. We got in the car and drove away while the party presumably imploded behind us. Kevin was pumping his fist in victory. "That was legendary. Did you see their faces? Your brother looked like he was going to pass out." I felt hollow. Not victorious. Not satisfied. Just empty. I'd exposed them. Made sure everyone knew the truth. But I didn't feel better. Just done. My phone started blowing up within minutes. Mom calling over and over. Dad sending texts about how I'd humiliated the family. Nathan sending long messages about how I'd ruined his engagement party, embarrassed Jessica, destroyed his relationships with his friends who now knew the truth. The last message from Dad was the one that cut deepest. "You are no longer welcome in this family. What you did tonight was unforgivable. Don't contact us again." I'd been disowned for telling the truth, for refusing to smile and celebrate while my brother married my ex-girlfriend, for not being mature enough to swallow my hurt feelings for Nathan's happiness. Kevin saw my face as I read the messages. Screw them. You did the right thing. They don't deserve you. Maybe he was right, but it still hurt. Losing your entire family in one night, even a family that never valued you, leaves a mark. I graduated 2 months later, walked across that stage with Kevin's family in the stands, cheering for me. My own parents didn't show. Nathan sent a text that just said, "Hope you're happy now." I wasn't happy, but I was free. The next 8 years were about building a life that had nothing to do with them. I moved to Portland for a job in software development. Started as a junior developer at a mid-sized tech company and worked my way up. Turned out being the overlooked twin who learned to solve problems independently translated well into coding and project management. Made real friends. People who knew my story and didn't blame me for refusing to celebrate my brother stealing my girlfriend. My coworker Jake became one of my closest friends. The guy who'd grab drinks after work and genuinely ask how I was doing. His wife Nicole treated me like family, invited me to their kids' birthday parties, made sure I wasn't alone on holidays. Started rock climbing at a local gym and joined a regular group. Got into hiking, explored the Pacific Northwest on weekends, built a life that was fully mine, with no ghosts of golden child syndrome or parental favoritism haunting every decision. Dated occasionally but kept things casual. The Jessica situation had left scars. Hard to trust someone completely when your twin brother and girlfriend could betray you so thoroughly. Women would ask about my family, and I'd give vague answers about being estranged. Most didn't push. The ones who did usually didn't last long. In those 8 years, I heard nothing from my family. Total silence. No birthday calls, no holiday texts, no attempts at reconciliation. It was like I'd never existed. Fine by me. I'd built something better without them. Then, 3 weeks ago, I got an email. From Mom. The first contact in 8 years. Dear Liam, I hope this email finds you well. It's been too long since we've spoken. Your father and I have been thinking about you a lot lately. We'd love for you to come home for Christmas this year. It would mean everything to have the whole family together. We understand if you're still upset about what happened with Nathan and Jessica, but it's been 8 years. Water under the bridge. Family is forever. Love, Mom. I read that email 5 times, each time feeling more confused. 8 years of silence, and suddenly it's water under the bridge? After they disowned me for exposing the truth? After they chose Nathan's happiness over basic decency? Jake's response when I told him, "That's shady as hell." What do they want? Good question. Because after 8 years of not caring if I was alive or dead, they wouldn't suddenly reach out without an agenda. The question was what they wanted and how badly they needed it. I didn't respond immediately. Spent a few days thinking about it, gaming out the scenarios. Maybe Nathan and Jessica's marriage had fallen apart, and they felt guilty. Maybe someone was sick. Maybe they'd realized what they'd lost when they chose the golden child over basic human decency. Kevin called when I told him about the email. He'd moved to Seattle, gotten married, had a kid. We still talked every few weeks. Don't do it, he said immediately. This is a trap. They want something. Probably. So why are you even considering going? Honest answer? Curiosity. After 8 years of nothing, I wanted to know what had changed. What could possibly make them think I'd come back after they'd disowned me? I sent a short reply. I'll think about it. Mom responded within an hour with excited messages about how wonderful it would be to have me home, how much they missed me, how Christmas wasn't the same without me, laying it on thick. Too thick. Red flags everywhere. Then Nathan sent his own email. More formal, more careful. He talked about time healing wounds, about wanting to reconnect as brothers, about how family should stick together. Mentioned he and Jessica were doing well, had 2 kids now, living in Mom and Dad's hometown, where he'd taken over Dad's accounting firm. That last part stuck out. Nathan running Dad's firm. The business Dad had built over 30 years was now in Nathan's hands. Interesting timing for a family reunion. I did some research, found Dad's firm online, found Nathan's LinkedIn showing he'd been made partner 6 years ago and full owner 2 years ago. Found reviews mentioning new management and transition period. Found a local news article about the firm expanding services under new leadership. Dad had handed everything to Nathan. The golden child got the golden parachute. No surprise there. Spent another week weighing options. Every logical part of my brain said don't go. But another part, the part that still wanted to understand why they'd chosen Nathan over me, why his happiness had always mattered more, that part needed closure. I emailed back, "I'll come for Christmas dinner, but I'm staying at a hotel, and I'm leaving if anything feels off." Mom's response was pure enthusiasm about how excited everyone was, how this was the best Christmas gift she could ask for, how Dad was thrilled, how Nathan couldn't wait to introduce me to his kids. The whole thing felt wrong, but I was going anyway. I flew into my hometown on Christmas Eve, rented a car, and booked a hotel downtown. The town looked the same. Same main street, same restaurants, same park where Nathan and I used to play when we were kids. Before everything got complicated, before the favoritism became obvious, before he stole my girlfriend and my parents chose his side, drove past our childhood home without stopping. Lights were up, decorations in the yard, looking like a perfect family Christmas. The irony wasn't lost on me. Jake texted, "Not too late to bail. Say you got food poisoning. I'll back up your story." I texted back, "I came this far. Might as well see what they want." Christmas morning was surreal. I showed up at 11 a.m. as instructed for Christmas brunch, parked on the street and sat in the car for a few minutes, preparing myself mentally. Could see movement through the windows, people gathering, kids running around, the whole family Christmas scene. Mom answered the door. She'd aged, more gray in her hair, lines around her eyes. But the way she looked at me was the same. That slightly disappointed expression like I wasn't quite what she'd expected. "Liam, oh sweetie, you made it. Come in, come in." The house was exactly as I remembered. Same furniture, same photos on the wall, mostly of Nathan at various life milestones. His graduation, his wedding, his kids. I'd been edited out of the family gallery years ago. Dad was in the living room. He'd aged more noticeably, thinner, grayer. He stood up when he saw me and extended his hand. Not a hug, a handshake, like I was a business associate. "Son, good to see you." "Dad." Nathan came down the stairs with Jessica right behind him. Nathan looked successful. Expensive clothes, styled hair, confidence that came from always being the favorite. Jessica had aged well, still pretty, holding a toddler. "Brother," Nathan said with forced cheerfulness. "It's been too long." I didn't respond. Just looked at him and remembered walking into Jessica's bedroom 8 years ago. Remembered the expression on his face. Not guilt. Annoyance. Their kids ran around. A 6-year-old girl and the toddler Jessica was holding. The kids who existed because my brother stole my girlfriend. The kids my parents got to dote on while I was erased from family photos. Brunch was awkward. Everyone dancing around the elephant in the room, making small talk about weather and jobs in Portland. Nathan talked about the firm, how business was good, how they'd expanded into estate planning. Mom asked about my job in that tone that suggested tech work wasn't as impressive as running Dad's accounting firm. The kids were the only genuine part. The 6-year-old Lily kept asking me questions about Portland and if I lived near the ocean. She didn't know I was the uncle who'd been banned for 8 years. She just knew Dad's twin brother was visiting. After brunch, while Jessica was putting the toddler down for a nap and the kids were occupied with new toys, the real reason for my invitation came out. We were in the living room. Dad sat in his usual chair. Mom was on the couch looking nervous. Nathan stood by the fireplace trying to look casual and failing. "Liam, we're glad you came," Dad started. "There's something we need to discuss." There it was. The reason for the sudden reconciliation. The thing they wanted badly enough to pretend the last 8 years hadn't happened. "I'm sick," Dad continued. "Kidney disease. Been on dialysis for 6 months. I need a transplant." The words hung in the air. Mom was crying quietly. Nathan was staring at the floor. Dad was looking at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said carefully. "Nathan's not a match. Neither is your mother. We've been on the transplant list for 7 months and nothing. Time's running out. And you think I might be a match. You're his identical twin," Mom said quickly. "Nathan's not, but you and your father share more genetic markers. The doctors said there's a good chance you'd be compatible." There it was. They didn't miss me. They didn't regret disowning me. They didn't want reconciliation for its own sake. They needed my kidney. "Let me get this straight," I said slowly. "You disowned me 8 years ago for exposing the truth about Nathan and Jessica. Haven't spoken to me since. Didn't invite me to Nathan's wedding. Didn't tell me when his kids were born. Didn't reach out when I graduated or got my job or bought my house. But now Dad needs a kidney, so suddenly I'm family again." "It's not like that," Nathan said quickly. "Then what's it like?" "We've always loved you," Mom said. "We were hurt by what you did at the engagement party, but we never stopped being your family. You told me I was no longer welcome. Dad sent me a text saying I was disowned. We were angry," Dad said. "We said things we didn't mean, but you're still our son." "Right. I'm your son when you need an organ. For 8 years I wasn't worth a phone call, but now I'm suddenly family." "We know we made mistakes," Nathan said. "We should have handled things differently back then. But this is life or death. Dad could die without a transplant. And you thought the way to approach this was to pretend everything was fine? To invite me for Christmas and then drop this bomb? We didn't know how else to do it, Mom admitted. We thought if you came home, saw the family, remembered the good times, you'd be willing to help. The manipulation was breathtaking. They'd orchestrated this whole reunion, hoping I'd be too caught up in Christmas spirit and family feelings to refuse. Use the kids, use nostalgia, use guilt to get what they needed. I need to think about it, I said, standing up. There's no time, Dad said urgently. I'm getting worse. Every day without a transplant is a day closer to complete kidney failure. Then you should have reached out 8 years ago, or 7, or 6. You had plenty of time to rebuild our relationship before you needed something from me. Liam, please. Mom was fully crying now. He's your father. You can't let him die because of old grudges. Old grudges? You mean the part where my twin brother slept with my girlfriend, and you told me to get over it for his happiness? Or the part where you disowned me for not celebrating their engagement? Which old grudge specifically are we talking about? Nathan stepped forward. Look, I know what we did was wrong. I know I messed up. But that's between us. This is about Dad. Everything with this family is about Dad. Or about you. It's never about me. It's never been about me. I walked to the door. They followed, all talking at once. Mom begging me to reconsider. Dad trying to stay dignified, but clearly desperate. Nathan attempting reason and logic like this was a business negotiation. I'll think about it, I repeated. But don't expect anything. You made it clear 8 years ago that I'm not really family. Can't have it both ways. I drove back to the hotel in a daze. They didn't want me. They wanted my kidney. The whole Christmas reunion was a setup to guilt me into organ donation. Jake called that evening. I told him everything. Holy crap. That's even worse than we thought. They literally only want you for parts. Yeah. You're not doing it, right? You're not giving them anything? Honest answer? I didn't know. Part of me wanted to tell them all to go to hell. They'd made their choices 8 years ago. But another part kept thinking about Dad on dialysis, about the fact that I might be the only person who could save him. I need to process this, I told Jake. Spent Christmas night in a hotel room, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out the right thing to do. Not the thing that would make me feel good or get revenge. The right thing. The next morning, Nathan showed up at my hotel. Don't know how he found out where I was staying, but he was in the lobby when I came down for breakfast. We need to talk, he said. We sat in the hotel restaurant. Nathan ordered coffee he didn't drink. I had breakfast I couldn't taste. I know you hate me, Nathan started. I know what I did was unforgivable. Taking your girlfriend, having the family take my side, everything. But Dad's dying. Whatever you think of me, he doesn't deserve to die for my mistakes. Dad made his own choices. He chose you over me. He told me I was selfish for not celebrating your engagement to my ex-girlfriend. He was wrong. We were all wrong. But holding a grudge isn't going to change the past. It's just going to kill him. Is that what this is? A grudge? You think I'm refusing out of spite? Aren't you? I looked at my twin brother. The person who'd shared a womb with me, grown up alongside me, knew me better than anyone, and had used that knowledge to betray me in the worst way possible. I'm refusing because you don't actually want me there. None of you do. You want my kidney. If Dad didn't need a transplant, would we be having this conversation? Nathan looked down. Probably not. At least you're honest about that. Look, I can't undo what happened. I can't make the family treat you better or take back 8 years of silence. All I can do is ask you to save our father's life. Not for me. For him. Dad wasn't just silent for 8 years. He actively chose you over me. He prioritized your happiness over basic decency. He told me I was embarrassing the family by exposing the truth. I know. Do you? Do you actually understand what it felt like to walk in on you with my girlfriend? To have my parents tell me to get over it? To be disowned for refusing to celebrate your engagement? Nathan was quiet for a long moment. Jessica and I split up 2 years ago. That caught me off guard. What? We got divorced. Turns out a relationship built on lies doesn't last. She cheated on me with a coworker. The irony wasn't lost on me. I didn't know what to say to that. Part of me felt vindicated. Part of me just felt sad. The kids live with her during the week, Nathan continued. I get weekends. Mom and Dad help when they can, but Dad being sick has made everything harder. The firm's struggling because I'm not there full time. Everything's falling apart. And you thought I'd feel sorry for you. No. I thought you should know that karma exists and I've paid for what I did. Not as much as you paid, but I've paid. And now Dad's paying for all of our mistakes. He left cash for his coffee and walked out. I sat there for a long time, thinking about everything he'd said. That afternoon, I called the hospital and asked about being tested as a kidney donor. The coordinator explained the process: blood tests, medical history, psychological evaluation. It would take weeks to determine compatibility and eligibility. Even if I was a match, there were risks to the surgery. Are you sure about this? The coordinator asked. Organ donation is serious. You should take time to think about it. I hung up without scheduling anything. Drove around my hometown, past the high school Nathan and I had attended, past the park where Dad had taught Nathan to throw a baseball while I watched from the sidelines, past Jessica's old apartment building where my relationship had imploded. The memories were everywhere. Every corner held some reminder of always being second place, always being the backup son, always being Nathan's twin instead of just Liam. My phone buzzed. Text from Mom. Have you thought about what we discussed? Your father's getting worse. Please consider helping him. Not, please come back because we miss you. Not, we're sorry for how we treated you. Just help him. Because I was still just useful. Still just the spare parts, brother. I drove to my parents' house. Time to lay everything out and get real answers before I made any decisions. They were all there when I arrived. Mom, Dad looking pale and tired, Nathan. Jessica was notably absent, probably with the kids at her place. They looked up hopefully when I walked in. I want answers, I said without preamble. Real answers. No more dancing around the past. Dad sighed heavily. What do you want to know? Why did you always choose Nathan over me? What did I do to deserve being the second choice son my entire life? Mom and Dad exchanged glances. Nathan looked uncomfortable. You didn't do anything wrong, Mom finally said. We didn't mean to make you feel that way. That's not an answer. That's a deflection. I want to know why Nathan always got priority. Why his happiness always mattered more than basic fairness. Dad spoke up, voice tired. Nathan needed more support. He struggled with things that came easily to you. You were independent, self-sufficient. We thought you didn't need us as much. So you abandoned me emotionally because I was capable of taking care of myself? We didn't abandon you, Mom protested. Yes, you did. You gave Nathan my college fund because he needed it more. You celebrated his mediocre achievements while ignoring my actual accomplishments. You took his side when he stole my girlfriend. You disowned me for telling the truth at his engagement party. At every single moment, you chose him over me. The silence was deafening. They couldn't argue because everything I'd said was true. And now you want my kidney, I continued. Not because you love me or value me as your son. Because I'm useful. Because I'm the spare parts twin. 8 years of silence, and suddenly I matter when you need an organ. That's not fair, Nathan said. Fair? Nothing about this family has ever been fair. You got everything. Attention, money, support, forgiveness. I got lectures about being more understanding and then got disowned when I stopped being a doormat. Dad stood up, looking older and more fragile than I'd ever seen him. You're right. About all of it. We failed you. We prioritized Nathan because he needed more help, but we should have seen what we were doing to you. We should have supported you better. We should have believed you when you said Nathan was in the wrong. It was the first real apology I'd ever heard from him. I know we don't deserve your help, he continued, but I'm asking anyway. Not because I'm your father who deserves it, but because I'm a man who's dying and you're the only person who can save me. Mom was crying. Nathan was staring at the floor. The whole scene felt like something from a medical drama, except it was my actual life. I need time, I said finally. I need to think about this without you pressuring me. If I decide to get tested, it'll be my choice. Not because you guilted me or manipulated me, my choice. I left before they could respond. I stayed in town 3 more days thinking it over. Finally scheduled the testing. Not because they deserved it. Not because family comes first. But because I couldn't live with being the guy who let someone die out of spite. The testing was brutal. Blood work, psych evaluations, medical history. The psychologist spent an hour making sure I wasn't being guilted into it. What do you want from your family after this? She asked. Nothing. I'm doing this so I can look at myself in the mirror. She cleared me. 2 weeks later, I got the call. I was a match. Surgery could happen within a month. I called my parents. I'm a match. But we're doing this on one condition. After the surgery, we're done. I'm saving your life because it's the right thing to do, not because I'm rejoining this family. You made your choices 8 years ago. I'm making mine now. Long silence. We understand, Dad finally said. Surgery was late January. Everything went smooth. Dad's body accepted the kidney without complications. He'd live. I spent 2 days in the hospital recovering. Mom visited once and cried a lot. Nathan thanked me. I just nodded. too drugged up to care. Jake flew out to drive me home since I couldn't fly right after surgery. We made a road trip out of it. Didn't talk about the family stuff. Just drove. You good? He asked somewhere in Idaho. Yeah, it's done. 3 weeks later, back in Portland and back at work, I got a letter from Dad. Handwritten. He said the kidney saved his life. Said I was right about everything. They did favor Nathan. They did treat me like I didn't matter. They chose his happiness over mine. Said I turned out better than any of them deserved. Didn't expect forgiveness. Just wanted me to know he finally understood what they did. I read it 5 times. Put it in a drawer. Went about my life. That was 3 months ago. Haven't heard from them since except for a birthday card from Mom last month. No note beyond happy birthday, love Mom. I didn't respond. Not out of spite. Just because there's nothing left to say. I saved my father's life. Proved I was bigger than their betrayal. Now I'm living the life I built without them. Family is supposed to be forever. But sometimes you get to choose your family. Sometimes the best choice is walking away. I'm at peace with both decisions. To help and to leave. And that's enough. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.